Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Quick question. Have you ever tried to actually be honest like everyone says they want? Your team complains that feedback is sugar-coated and not taken seriously, so you decide no more fluff. You sit your employees down and you say something like,
"Your code reviews are taking too long. The team is waiting on you, so can we try to speed it up?"
this is just straight talk and no BS. And then what happens? Your employees immediately get defensive.
"That's just your opinion. You don't see everything I'm juggling. This is unfair."
And suddenly you're the villain. Everyone claims they want honesty until they actually get it. It's the ultimate catch-22. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. But today, I'm going to give you the exact two-step script that I use and that my clients use to deliver brutally honest feedback that actually works without getting blamed, without defensiveness, and without anybody calling it unfair. So stick around. You don't want to miss this. So I've spent years studying feedback and performance in organizations. The complaints are absolutely everywhere. Leaders never tell the truth, everything is vague, everything is too polite and sugar-coated. But the second someone actually tells the truth, bam, people bristle, take it personally, and shoot the messenger. So most managers end up just playing it safe, and so they sugarcoat. And the cycle just goes on and on. So here's the good news. You don't have to choose between honesty and harmony when you give feedback. You can have both. It just takes two tiny framing moves. Let's break them down. Number one, the key reason negative feedback feels unfair is that it sounds subjective. You might provide your honest and professional opinion about the employee's work. What the employee hears is, in your opinion, I suck. And then their brain immediately fires back, well, you're out of touch and I know better. So the fix is simple but powerful. Stop framing your feedback as an opinion. Start giving benchmarks. Here's the difference. Here's a weak version of what most managers would say when they give feedback to an employee. They would say something like,
"James, your code reviews are taking way too long and everyone is waiting on you. So please try to speed it up."
that's super weak and it sounds like an opinion. Here's the strong version.
"James, our team guideline is that code reviews should get an initial thorough review within 24 working hours after they've been assigned. Your recent reviews took longer than average, about 3 days."
See what just happened? It's no longer just my opinion that you're taking too long on the code reviews. It's the team's standard that everyone else is meeting except for you. Moreover, what you're doing when you're given a benchmark is that you're instantly showing the size of the gap. Is it 24 hours as a guideline versus 25 hours, or is it 24 hours versus 3 days? So James would know exactly how far off he is, which again lends an aura of objectivity to your feedback. Also, when you're given a benchmark, the expectation is super clear. There's no vagueness involved. James knows exactly what he's expected to do. So the conversation shifts from you're attacking me to, okay, here's the objective target and here's where I stand. Defensiveness will drop in that situation. I've seen it a million times. And the whole air is of problem solving. Can we get where you are to the standard? Finally, it also helps you as a manager. Why? Because you have to think about the appropriate benchmark to give to your employees. You'll be amazed at how many managers don't even consider it when they give feedback, which is actually unfair to their employees. So tip number one, benchmark is very important. Here's tip number two. Everyone cares about being treated fairly, but here's the dirty little secret about fairness. It's completely in the eye of the beholder. When somebody else messes up and we end up doing their work, it's super clear to us that that's unfair. But when we mess up, we see all the context and the nuances. Well, you can't fight human nature, and I'm not advocating for that. What instead you can do is use it to your advantage. The moment that the other person participates actively in the feedback conversation, they become dramatically more likely to accept it and act on it and believe that it's fair. Why? Because now it's partly their idea. It's partly owned by them. When you have a feedback conversation, there are two perfect moments to ask for the other person's input. The first moment is right at the beginning. Instead of launching straight into your critique of them, you open with something like,
"Hey James, let's chat about how things have been going with this project. Before I share with you my thoughts, I'd really value hearing your perspective first. So tell me how you think things are going."
There's two things that happen when you do this. First, their suspicion level and their anxiety level melt away. They get to speak first, they get to have their version out first. Second, the very act of talking makes them a lot more open to what you say next because they're far more involved. Then you want to deliver your benchmark from the previous tip, to give your feedback and say how they're performing compared to the benchmark. Then the second moment you want them involved is right at the end of the conversation. After you've laid out the gap between their performance and the benchmark, you would say something like,
"So we've talked about how your code review turnaround is averaging 3 days compared to our 24-hour guideline, and how that's creating blockers for our team. So what steps do you think you should take to get back on track?"
what you're doing here is you're trying to co-create a solution with the employee. They're not just receiving feedback from you, they're actually owning it. If they come up with good ideas about next steps, that's even better. That's fantastic. If they don't come up with good ideas, you can gently add your own. But because they got to speak first about next steps, they're a lot more likely to actually follow through on those future steps. So these two moves, benchmark and buy-in, let you thread the needle. You stay 100% honest, you don't sugarcoat, and you don't make a mockery out of feedback conversations. But also, you're removing the perception of unfairness and you're turning feedback into something collaborative, something that's focused on problem solving instead of judgment. If you do this consistently, I think two incredible things will happen. First, your reputation would improve. People will start saying, hey, you actually tell it like it is, but you know what? I noticed you do it in a way that makes me want to get better. That is gold. Second, your feedback will actually work. People will actually implement it, which means the performance will improve, which means that your team will get better, which means that you will get better. So next time you have to give tough feedback, try these two tips, benchmark and buy in from the other person. This combo, I promise, will feel very different for both you and the person you're giving feedback to. So drop in the comments, what's the hardest feedback conversation you've ever had? Did people blame you for being unfair or too negative? And did you ever try one of these two tips before, and how did it go for you? If you want more research-backed ways to lead without the drama, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I drop a new video every week. Thanks for watching. Now go give some honest but smart feedback. See you in the next one.